All right, I'll open it up to questions. Go ahead.
Chris, you had set yourself up to be in contention for a win last week. How have you worked this week as you approach the Saints to keep that mindset and momentum going?
Well, I think anytime every week in the NFL, you're always resetting, and that's what we've done. We gave ourselves a chance to have an opportunity to win. We didn't finish it. You try to learn from it. You try to move on, and that's what we have to do with New Orleans. You're going on the road. I mean, they got a lot of really good employees down there. 41, 12, 7. I could keep going on. 96. They're all over the place. And so I think what happens is you just concentrate on that and studying the film and try to coach your guys to put them up in good positions, and then hopefully that gives you a chance to win.
As a special teams guy, you don't get a lot of opportunities returning kickoffs, but later the year wears on, people get more chances. Blackshear's giving you a bit of a spark there. Talk about his contributions.
Oh, his contribution has really been big. I think that he's been very good when he has opportunities, and obviously we'll be in the dome there, so we'll see how it plays. But you are clearly, especially if you're up north, you are in return season. Right now the ball's not flying and carrying quite as far, but it's always a thing to either, sometimes on kick return, obviously they probably maybe just scored, and you got to restore and get the momentum back on your side. So that's a big play for us, and the guys block well for Blackshear because they got a lot of confidence in them.
Chris,
Easy.
Easy
crowd. Easy crowd, I was saying.
Oh yeah, no. The Panthers announced that they are not going to Spartanburg for training camp next year. Been at Spartanburg the past 2 summers. Just your general reaction about that. Will you miss going to Spartanburg?
Yeah, no. Spartanburg. My two training camps there was excellent. I thought they did a great job. The town did a great job. Also excited that it's going to be here. I've done it in my career by going on the road and being at home, doing it also. So there's a lot of advantages to both. And I'm thankful for Spartanburg, and I'm excited about the opportunity here.
What have you learned about this organization that you didn't know as your position coach or special teams coordinator that you've learned being the interim coach?
I think what I've learned is there's things that come across my desk that maybe I didn't see happening. I try to get in early, write down a to-do list. And what happens is, as I'm marking it out, more things come across that you don't anticipate, and then just trying to handle it properly. I think that's probably the biggest thing when you're just a position coach. You're in your own little world, and that's all you think about. So now you have the whole thing.
What sort of things you're talking about?
There could be a guy he might have to go home. So maybe someone's sick in the family. You might have to tend to somebody else's problem, or just making sure that you're massaging a problem and smoothing it out before it becomes a really big problem.
Chris, you guys rolled a number of guys through those guard positions. How do you, as a coach, try to get guys ready in a hurry, whether it's like a McRae or Gabe Jackson rolls in here last week, when there's a short amount of time to prepare somebody?
I think every rep matters, not only on the field but in the classroom, in the walkthroughs. And then, for example, if you're not starting and another guy's ahead of you, you're learning from him. So when coach corrects him, he should be also correcting you at the same time, because you put yourself in that player's position. And that's what I always say about a good pro. If I correct you, then I would expect you to not make the same mistake and hold them to that standard. Now, is that always going to happen? No, it's not. But there has to be a standard and an expectation for the player and how he learns. And because when your number's called, it's next man up, and we obviously expect results.
Chris, in a tough season and lots of changes and staffing changes, how would you describe the culture and the relationships between all the coaches throughout the year?
It's been fine. I haven't had a problem.
Have you gone back and looked at Bryce's game against New Orleans week 2 and seen where you feel like he's made any kind of steps since then, since you're playing the same team again?
I haven't looked at that game specifically. There's a lot of tape that I'm perusing because I'm still responsible for my area, and they're really good on special teams. They have employee number 22, Shaheed, that can turn it on at any moment. But no, I think I trust our guys on offense and defense, and I'm a coach that says, hey, you're responsible. I expect them to be the head coaches of those units, and that's how I look at it.
Last week, you came away from last week's game without a lot of injuries. What do you attribute that to? Are you all working on something differently now, or is that just luck of the draw?
I think sometimes really it's probably luck of the draw. I think our training staff does a great job of getting guys back. I mean, no one's fully healthy at this time of the year. And what we're just trying to do is make sure that we get our guys ready, because in order to win on the road, I mean, the secret, it's not a big secret. You want to win on the road, pack a good team. So that's what we're trying to do.
Speaking of injuries, any update on J.C. Horn, his health status for Sunday?
No, he did good. He was limited today, practiced well, so I like where he's at.
Who's back on the practice field today. Where is he in the protocol? What's his status?
He's working his way through the protocol. That was just another step to see where he's at. We'll get an evaluation at the end today and see how he did.
I know you haven't spent a whole lot of time focused on the offensive line, but how do you feel like Nash did, and what's the feedback from the offensive line coaches and the maturation?
Yeah, I thought he played well. I mean, obviously there's things that he still needs to improve upon, and you saw that on tape. But you also saw a guy that's a young player get better. And so now we're going into the next game, and hopefully you continue to see him grow right there.
Chris, you talked about your to-do list, other things come across your desk that you may not have anticipated. You're still responsible for the special teams group. Is there any room on your plate for anything else, or is this almost overload for you in terms of trying to do the job?
No, it's not overload. It's something that you always dream about and wanting to do. It's just part of it. And I just try to stay structured within my process. I know what I need to do within my process of my little special teams world. And then when other stuff pops up, I know I divert my attention there, and then I can come back and I know exactly where I'm supposed to be and how much time all that's going to take. It's just, by the end of the week, I'm not going to lie, I'm tired, but I'm excited for the game.
Following up, you've also talked in the past about what's expected of the guys being pros, going out, putting your best stuff on tape. What's the overall sense that you're getting from the team in terms of not necessarily their work ethic, but their attitude in terms of, because it's obviously difficult at 1-11.
No, it's extremely hard, and I would say this about them. I really do. I appreciate how we played on Sunday, even though we didn't get it done. And I know that's frustrating for myself. That's frustrating for them. That's real. I have no problem acknowledging that. But at the same time, I think it's one of those things that, like I said, you have two choices: character or compromise. And when I lay my head down and go to sleep at night, I like to think I know who I am. Did I do an honest day's work? And I think that's how you have to look at it. And I don't think about the record. The record thing's way past. I just think about what are we doing in order to set ourselves up to win.
Chris, saw Hayden back out there today. How is he progressing?
We addressed that. You were a little late, so we'll fine you on that. But that's fine. I can go ahead. I'll retouch that. We'll evaluate him at the end of practice there.
Chris, Taysom Hill, the challenge he presents.
He's a good football player. You're talking about a guy we were talking about today. You always talk about value on a roster. Think about this: a quarterback, a guy that returns kicks, a guy that blocks kicks, a guy that runs wildcat. You know what he is? He's a football player, a really good football player. And he causes a lot of problems, not only for us defensively in the wildcat stuff, but just in the special teams area where they're going to match him up on some guys and create some one-on-ones to try to get the hecker there. So we got a lot of respect for that guy. I've watched him for a lot of years, and man, he's a good player. I like watching him on tape. Don't always enjoy watching him on Sunday live.
The oversteps out extra set
Two
of
more
eyes?
questions, Simon, and then Joe will wrap up.
Joe, you gotta go last, you're late. Sorry, Joe.
Do you have to almost have like an extra set of eyes for someone watching Taysom to see if he's on the field because you don't know what personnel you need and where he's even going to play and what position?
Yeah, no, our coaches up top, you know, we got guys that are communicating the personnel groups to EJ so we can get the appropriate calls and go to work.
With Carr in the protocol and Jameis taking reps, how do you approach who you're preparing for?
I think you got to prepare for both of them. And I think the reason why, obviously, they got a lot of weapons. So even though the quarterbacks, we're not for sure which one it's going to be, all those other weapons are still there. So they garnered a lot of attention.
Is there a difference between the two? Carl?
You're talking about two seasoned veterans that have won a lot of football games, played in a lot of big games that can get streaky at any time. So, no, I don't see that. You see two really quality players that you're going to respect tremendously.
Is the week 2 tape helpful, or is that so long ago that?
I think what it does, I think it can help you maybe with regards to what possible matchups might look like. But at the same time, then I think you have to account for how the season's gone, where your player's at that time versus where that player's at the time. Just because maybe on a matchup you got the better of them in week 2 doesn't mean that whatever this is, week 14, that's going to be the same.
How challenging is it to sort of take into account everyone's opinions on what should be done and make sure that they feel their voices are heard, but at the same time take command as the guy and say, okay, I respect what you're saying as a coach, but right now it's my call?
I think you work together. We work together as a staff, and I think what you try to do is you paint the picture of how you want the picture painted, and then describe that. Listen, I do not have all the answers. I never will. I never have had all the answers. I look for the answers. I want to continue to grow as a coach. So I talk to our staff all the time, going back to how the staff gets along, which is great. And I respect their opinions. And because they might see something in their room that I don't see, and they bring it to light for me, and then we can address it and go from there.